Okay, so next up, we're going to be looking at what's called compounding. So it's very common for information to be given about how much we would make in a year, but for our interest to be calculated more frequently than just once a year. So the payment period is going to be the number of times your interest is calculated. And so this is going to say that we are going to calculate our interest more than just at the end of each year. So here are some of the words that we might use for these payment periods. Annually means once a year. Semi-annually means twice a year. Quarterly means 4 times a year. Monthly is 12 times a year. Weekly is 52 times a year. And then, of course, daily is 365 times a year. Okay, so let me give you the main idea. So if we were given an interest rate, just in terms of us once in a year, say we have a 12% interest rate. Okay. This is the formula we would use to find our the amount of money that we have in our account at the end of a year. We can think of having our whole year with a payout at the end of 12%. Okay. And so to get from our initial amount of money to our final amount of money, we're going to do P naught times 1 plus this 12%. Okay, so this is a yearly payout. Let's take a look let's take a look at what a semi-annual payout would look like. So the idea here is that we're going to calculate the interest that we should get every 6 months rather than every 12 months. Overall, if we were to take a 12% growth and break it up so that it was even across a whole year, that would mean that in 6 months, we saw a 6% growth. And then in the next 6 months, we would see another 6% growth. So if we take a look at how this would grow, what this would look like is we would start out with the same initial amount, P naught. At the 6-month mark, we would have P naught times 1 plus 0.06. And then this amount would be our new kind of initial amount, and we would make 6% growth off of that amount. Okay. So we would, to find our amount at the end of the year, we would have P naught times 1.006 times 1.006. So this gives us P naught times 1.06 squared. All right. So the idea is we made 6% interest, but then we're making interest on some of our interest. Okay. All right. If we had done let's say a quarterly calculation of payment, at the end of the year, we want 12% growth. We're going to break that 12% up into 4 equal growth periods. So we're going to have 3% in the first quarter, and then 3%, and then 3%, and then in the final quarter, another 3%. So we start off with our initial investment of P naught. After 4 months, after 3 months, we make P naught times 1.03 We then wait 3 months more, and this amount has grown by 3%. So it's going to be P naught 1.03 squared. And then another 3%. So P naught times 1.03 cubed. And P naught times 1.03 to the fourth. In general, if we have n compounding periods in a year, if we want to calculate our interest n times in a year, the way that we're going to do this is with this formula, where we take our initial amount in our account. We're going to multiply this by 1 plus our yearly rate over the number of compounding periods. And then because we have so many more compounding periods, this is going to be to the compounding periods times time as our exponent. All right, so for example, in our monthly case, this is going to look like P naught times 1 plus 0.12 divided by 12 to the 12t, or P naught times 1.01 to the 12t. By having more frequent payment periods, we're going to make more on that. We'll have that interest available to grow more frequently. So let's take a look at a couple of examples of this.